Hey everyone, it's DeagleBeagle. So today we're gonna just have a brief look at some of the new Pokemon and what tiers I think they're in. I could place them in all these tiers online, but I'm just gonna say it really quick and try to get this done in a few minutes. Now there is my blog. It does have the speed tiers. I finished this yesterday. It wasn't that much work. Just had to add the restricted type Pokemon, and I think I'm gonna say just with the Pokemon that I think are gonna be top tier or very close to it. It's gonna be Calyrex Shadow, even though there's gonna be a lot of speed ties. It's still gonna be used a lot. People will probably just make it timid and hope they can outspeed or use Scarf or something, or Terra, maybe Ghost for the mirror. Or sorry, Terra normal for the mirror to wall them and hit back hard. Calyrex Ice is going to be used a lot in on hard trick room teams. Kyurem Black doesn't seem that good, and it only has a strong ice move if you use Power Herb. Kyurem White is not going to be that good. You could use it with like Abomasnow or something with Blizzard, but overall, Dragon Ice is not a good defensive typing. It's fine offensively, but defensively not really. Even though there are things that resist both Dragon and Ice, like Steel, but Ice is always going to be really good offensively. And Terapagos Stellar, it has a really good base stat total, but it not really compared to the other ones. Like I don't think it's as good as people are saying, unless I'm misunderstanding it. It's like a normal stab move, doesn't super affect anything, and it's not so powerful to where it'll just like one shot everything, even with specs and Terastalling. So, so I don't think it's gonna be top tier now in Regulation G, and it might be good in some ways, but overall not. I don't know. I haven't really played Regulation G that much though, so I can't really say. But just right off the bat, it doesn't seem super good. Now, Zacian Crown is probably going to be better than Zamazenta Crown because there's a lot of special attackers, and boosting your defense doesn't really help with that. Most of the game is going to be special, not physical, probably, especially with all these restricteds and the better ones often being special. So that's just the reality. Wide guard's going to be really good for all these special moves like Astral Barrage. Eternit. Well, Zamazenta might actually be. It might be better since it has wide guard, and I don't think this Pokemon gets it. Yeah, it doesn't get wide guard. Zamazenta gets like some niche moves like that. Pretty sure. Yeah, wide guard. That's probably the main difference. Maybe more meant for surviving and using Howl. And Dialga traditionally has had good defensive typing, but it's always struggled with its power. I know it has 150 base special attack, which seems like a lot. Maybe it is a lot, but it's like either not slow enough in Trick Room or it doesn't have the right moves to pressure them enough. But maybe if you use like you could use Life Orb or something. I mean, it might. But the main niche of Dialga before was to wall like Kyogre or whatever its resistances. That's why Dialga was used, or to counter Rayquaza or something. But I don't think it's going to be top tier. Um, Dialga Origin, I believe, is um, I don't think isn't that the same as kind of like Lustrous or no? Oh, I mean it's all right. It's not going to be bad, but it's like you could just use a regular Dialga instead. But if you do want to boost up your offense, maybe do use the Origin one. Because I don't think there's any difference besides its item. And then, mm, Giratina is not going to be good. It's never been good. It's been, well, in 2010 it was alright with like Infernape because that had Shadow Force. Origins traditionally usually been worse, even though it has more attack and levitate. And Ho-Ah has been really good when they haven't used a rock move. It's a little bit better possibly now with Charty Berry, but the fact that you have to use Charty Berry makes it not that good in general, but it does have decent typing, and if you can take out the right Pokemon, it can wall like everything sometimes. Lugia has never been that great. It was in finals in 2010 versus Ray Rizzo, I believe, but in general, it doesn't really have much to work with. It has low offense. It does have a lot of bulk and tailwind and stuff, but it's not really great at any one thing. Eternatus, I have seen people use it with cosmic power, but something like that to me seems like a niche. I mean, a gimmick, and I just don't see this Pokemon doing that much. I mean, I think, oh, when I used it, I think I used Dynamax Cannon, but that was, I think that was when, yeah, Dynamax Pokemon were a thing, but now there's no Dynamax, so it's not that good anymore. And then Lunala could be good with, actually, no, you can't use Miraidon with it, but if you could have used Electric Shield. I don't personally think Lunala is going to be that good, but maybe if you use Wide Guard with it to work. But I think with what's that Pokemon? Shadow Rider, Calyrex Shadow. They'll if there's too much Wide Guard, they'll just use a single target ghost move or something like Shadow Ball. No, actually, maybe they won't. But they might if they get desperate enough, if there's too much Wide Guard. But if they don't, you could Wide Guard the Astral Barrage, but that's relying on a prediction. Like, they could just use, for example, Psychic, or they'll have some, I guarantee eventually they'll have some powerful single target move like Psychic or something, because Wide Guard's going to be a big problem for Shadow otherwise. Now, you could use Expanding Force with Lunala. It is bulky with Shadow Shield. I do think people will use that a little bit with, like, Indeedee, but I don't know. I mean, always having two special attackers is always kind of an issue. That's the problem with Indeedee type teams, is you might not have enough like physical attackers. Snarl or whatever could ruin you. Um, Mewtwo in 2010 it was pretty good. I used it in nationals, but we haven't really seen it since. It has been good with Blizzard when Abomasnow was used, but without that, I don't know. Maybe with Expanding Force and all its speed, even though Calyrex is faster and has Astral Barrage and Expanding Force, so I don't think Mewtwo is going to be very good. It's just worse in like every way. It does have Psy Strike, but that's not, and it only has one stab, and Psy Strike's not that good. So Mewtwo's going to be somewhat pretty low tier. The Necrozmas, it does have a lot of special attack, but when you could just use like Calyrex Shadow and has the same typing, you probably would want that instead. Yeah, this doesn't seem that good, and it's kind of a little fast for Trick Room. Not that fast, but if you did use it, you would probably use like Power with Prismatic Laser or something, but overall it seems like it's pretty low tier. And I'll summarize the tiers later. Um, Even though I really should have put these Pokemon into tiers, I should make a tier maker just for Regulation G on the next video. So, this Pokemon, where's its main move? Sunsteel Strike. I don't think the secondary effect is necessarily that useful, but maybe. I'd have to remember how it works exactly. So, this Pokemon has that speed where it's like you could use it for Trick Room or outside of it, but you would probably want to use it for Trick Room considering how there's going to be all these really fast Pokemon out there. So, you would probably make it physical. I just don't know about this Pokemon. You could use, does it still get Wide Guard? I thought it got Wide Guard unless I'm tripping. Maybe it doesn't. Huh. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of a Pokemon like it then that got Wide Guard, but I thought for sure it got it. Then I don't think this Pokemon's that good because Steel offensively isn't necessarily going to be that good. Maybe I'm thinking of, I'm thinking of Solgaleo, huh? Solgaleo gets Wide Guard. Yeah, it looks similar to that. Solgaleo is going to be well decent because its ability I think doesn't it prevent Intimidate? Yeah. People have used it with like Bulldoze and Weakness Policy in the past, or just Weakness Policy regardless. So the fact that it has Wide Guard is really good to counter Astral Barrage and whatnot, especially if they're like choice spec'd into it, even though that's kind of predictable. I think this Pokemon would be alright, but not really that high tier. Palkia and Palkia Origin. So, Lustrous Orb is alright. But you could use Specs or something else. It might maybe do more work with it. This Pokemon, I am trying to figure out if it's gonna be really. I don't think it's gonna be that good. It was better when they didn't have all these other restricted Pokemon, like when they had Kyogre and Groudon. It could kind of counter both of them, and even Specs with Dracometer to counter Dialga. So I don't think this Pokemon's gonna be that good. There's other Dragon Pokemon like Dialga that could wall it and kill it, or play rough Zacian or whatever, unless it really counters the meta. But at least in the beginning when it's not super centralized, I don't think it would do that. But eventually, if stuff like Rayquaza and other slower dragon Pokemon that it super affects are used, then it could be pretty good. Reshiram, it gets Blue Flare, but that's a little bit too inaccurate for me. I don't think this Pokemon is that good. But if you do use it in Sun, it can do more. But you can't use this and Koraidon, however you pronounce it, because you can only have one restricted. And it'd be like a lack of coverage if you use Torkoal with it. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that good or consistently good. Zekrom's going to be alright, but Electric doesn't super affect a lot besides Kyogre. This Pokemon has never been that good in general. Groudon's going to be good. Drought is always a good ability, even though you have Koraidon instead, but this could be decent in Trick Room and Gravity. Precipice Blades traditionally has been good. So, and there are a lot of ground weaknesses, as you can see. Besides just the restricteds, though, there's others. It's one of the most common weaknesses teams have, like Miraidon is weak to it, etc. And a lot of these Pokemon won't even be used, so even if they're not weak to ground, it may not matter because the main ones that are going to be used are going to be like Calyrex Shadow, Zacian. Trying to think of the others. There's going to be occasionally some others like Lunala or Solgaleo. There's probably going to be a lot of Koraidon and Miraidon and a decent amount of Groudon and Kyogre, Zacian. Um, Wait a minute. Zacian's not going to be used like at all because I think it's outclassed by the other ones unless I'm wrong. Um, Zamazenta gets Wide Guard, but only one stab. I don't think it's going to be used that much. Necrozma just looks bad. Photon Geyser. Yeah, this Pokemon just doesn't have an itch. It's outclassed, has worse stats, worse typing and moves. And then Terastal, it's still. I mean, that's a good ability, but nothing can. I don't think any of the Terapagos forms are going to be that good, unless I'm wrong. So I think I covered all the restricteds. Let me just double check. Yeah, I'll make a tier list pretty soon. Calyrex Ice is going to be good in Trick Room. People are going to use like Clear Amulet or Life Orb or something with it. Weakness Policy. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video.